Good evening. Hi everyone, it's Tanja from Tanja Kraus Horsemanship here, and you are joining me for Wednesday Night Live. Welcome to everyone as you all start to log on and join in. I'm really looking forward to tonight. Thank you so much for joining me for Wednesday Night Live. I'm loving this new time slot because we actually get to do the Wednesday Night Lives live on time pretty much all the time, which is so fantastic. So it is great. I'm really looking forward to this topic. So tonight what we're talking about is rebuilding trust. And this came from a lady who did suggest it. I put a call out on the Facebook page about building the Wednesday Night Lives and looking for topics for the Wednesday Night Lives, and someone posted on there, I'm just trying to get it up now, it's not working at the moment. Someone posted on there about rebuilding trust after there had been an incident. And I think the reason I wanted to check it is because I think that she said that she had actually been bucked off, and so that was sort of what she wanted to, that was her sort of line of thinking in regards to rebuilding trust after there'd been an incident, after she had come off the horse. So welcome. I can see you all starting to roll in now, and what we're going to talk about tonight is rebuilding trust after there's been an accident. But maybe there hasn't been an accident, maybe there's just been a really long break, or maybe there's been something else going on that has made you a little bit worried or a little bit lacking confidence. Maybe the horse is lacking confidence, maybe he's a little bit worried, maybe he's spooky or anything like that. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And what I want to firstly talk about is that we have to realize that there is two parts in this relationship. So that is the human and the horse. And what we have to understand is quite often both the human, sometimes the human is thinking about the horse and thinking about fixing the horse. Sometimes the human's thinking about themselves and thinking about how they feel and how, they're frightened because of what the horse did or something like that. So the first thing I want to get straight is that we do have to consider both parties during this rebuilding trust phase. And we have to understand that it is, we do have to consider where the horse is coming from and where the human's coming from, and try and work with those both individually. I know that it can sound a little bit funny that a horse might be traumatized in regards to an incident, but unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know which one it is, sometimes experiences are fortunate and some of them are a little bit sad. But I have met a lot of horses that have been in an accident, and they are very traumatized and things like that. So we always have to take into consideration that even though it was maybe a frightening experience for us and the horse might have bolted or they might have bucked or they did something, that horses aren't wanting to hurt us and they're not wanting to frighten us. Something triggered that behavior, and they kind of know that you're not supposed to come off, especially if there was quite an incident happening surrounding you coming off. And so what we have to realize is that the horse could be quite traumatized from the event as well. And we have to work on rebuilding the horse as confidence in going out and in being ridden and that sort of stuff. So what I'm going to do tonight is run through a series of things that we can do. I'm sure if we sat down and brainstormed amongst hundreds of us, that we'd all come up with different things. But I think I managed to, I think I've got about 14 or 15 that I'm going to specifically talk about tonight. Excuse me, I always forget to drink water during these Wednesday night lives, and by the end of it I'm so parched, and because I talk so quickly, and I think it'll work. My mouth will work better if I keep on top of the water tonight. So number one is give yourself a break. I know that we tend to beat ourselves up over things, and it really serves no purpose in trying to rehabilitate the human or rehabilitate the horse. sitting at home or driving or spending time with the horse and thinking about it all the time, like, oh, I should just be getting back in the saddle, and oh, I should have been, I should be showing already again, and I just need to get over it, and I just need to do this. And the more we should ourselves, the further away from actually rehabilitating or recovering from an incident that we are, because, we're not moving on. We're keeping, beating ourselves up about it, and so we're keeping it in the present moment. So there's really nothing that we can do about it. We need to build a bridge. We need to move past the incident, and we need to, and we need to accept that that's something that we need to do. And looking backwards is not helping us move forward. Looking forwards is going to help us move forward. So, writing out a list of things that we can do, or things, even writing down some of these notes from tonight is going to be a positive step forward into taking action, not reliving inaction or reliving things that happened in the past. The second thing that I'm going to say is stop talking about it. Now, with any process that we have, whether it be a car accident or a traumatic incident, a horse riding accident is obviously what we're talking about tonight, or a break, or, maybe we're just nervous because, we've had a break from having kids or whatever, we're getting back into it. What happens is there is a period of time where we do need to talk about it to process it. Okay, so there is a period of time where talking about it is processing the information, but there does come a point where talking about it moves beyond processing and turns into obsessing. And as soon as we start to obsess about something and we keep talking about it and we keep reliving it, and the fish gets bigger and the trauma gets bigger, and we keep investing time and energy and thought and current day's events to it, then we're obsessing about a situation, and we're not allowing ourselves to move past it, and we're treating our horse like that horse. We're treating our horse as, oh, that's the horse that bucked me off. That's the horse that bolted. That's the horse. Oh, did I tell you about my accident on Jimmy? Did I tell you that we did this, and did I tell you that he did that? And did I tell, oh, well, my accident and my this and my that. The more we keep holding on to it and the more we keep living it, the more that we're just going to stay stagnant, and we're not going to move beyond it. So as I said, there is a processing phase, and you absolutely need to talk about it in order to, figure out where you're at and process emotions and deal with, trauma and things like that. I'm not saying don't talk about it, but I'm saying recognize when you've got to a point where talking about it has now turned into an obsession, and it's just something that you continuously talk about. Speaking of talking about it, number 3 is all about fixing our language. Now, I did a little thoughts from my walk about this a couple of weeks ago, and the same thing applies. Fixing our language. If we're playing the blame game with the horse, we're not moving beyond it. We're not forgiving the horse, or we're not understanding what happened with the horse. Talking in the terms of, he did this to me, so he bucked me off. He did this, he did that, he bolted on me, and this happened to me. It all happened to me. You're making yourself the victim, and you're making your horse the offender. And whilst ever you make your horse the offender, you're not going to be able to move past the situation. You're not going to be able to resolve the issue and look forward into the future. So stop playing the blame game. Fix your language, okay? So you might need to sit down and think about, well, how do I talk about it? And apply some thought as to how you are going to change your language, because it is pretty easy to say, oh, he bucked me off. He didn't buck to buck you off, more than likely. What he did was he bucked in reaction to something that was uncomfortable, that was frightening, that was, stimulating to him. And he bucked as a response to that stimulus. He wasn't necessarily, unless he's a bronc horse, that has been taught to buck and the result is that the pressure stops, or unless you're talking about a green horse or something like that that felt uncomfortable with the saddle on. But your everyday rider, your everyday horse, like the other week, Cooper reared on me here the other week, which is very unusual behavior for him. And, I don't say, oh, he reared and tried to get me off, because he wasn't trying to get me off. What he was doing was reacting to pain in his mouth. So it had nothing to do with me whatsoever. I could have fallen off and I didn't, but if I had have fallen off and I had have hurt myself and I had have processed by walking around and telling everyone, oh, Cooper reared and I broke my arm and Cooper did this and I did, this, he hurt me, then I'd be putting myself in an offender victim situation. Whereas sometimes these things are just unavoidable. The horse is reacting to some kind of external stimulus or pain or whatever, and we need to just say, it was unfortunate, Cooper reacted to pain, I came off. We need to take responsibility for, he bucked and I fell off, because plenty of people can ride a buck, plenty of people can ride a rear, and I'm not saying that, you need to beat yourself up about not being a good rider or anything like that. I'm not saying that they're good riders and you're not a good rider, but what I'm saying is we need to take responsibility for the our part of the equation. I wasn't able to hold on, I fell off. The horse bucked and I fell off, not he bucked me off. Difference in language. So we need to fix that. The fourth thing that we're going to do is accept that it is going to take time to rebuild the trust and rebuild the relationship, and that's okay. It's absolutely fine. We've got all the time in the world. There's no point in comparing ourselves to others. There's no point in comparing ourselves, maybe there was a group incident. Maybe 3 or 4 horses on the same day bolted and, Janie's already back on her horse and Sarah's not back on her horse yet and Roberta's doing groundwork with her horse. Everyone's going to process and move forward at a different level, and that's fine. Okay, we need to accept that it's going to take time, stop pressuring ourselves, and just take every day as it comes. Number 5 is seek professional help if necessary. So what I mean by this, our brain is a very complex organ, and sometimes we're not equipped with the information that we need to enable to help us to, retrain our language or retrain our thought processes or overcome anxiety that has been caused by a traumatic event. And it's okay to go to someone who has done years of study in the brain and has done years of study into psychology and therapy, and that can talk to us from an impartial stance as well. Often we talk to family and friends and they have obviously been concerned with regards to our safety, and so they are going to be biased either way. Whereas if we talk to a professional is going to be unbiased and they're going to be trying to find out the facts from you and how you're feeling, and they're going to give you tools in how to help you move forward through that. So, quite often we will get professional help in regards to a car accident or something like that. Trauma's trauma. It doesn't matter if it's from horse or whether it's from a car or whether it's from some other kind of event like a bank robbery or something like that. It doesn't matter how the trauma happens. It's fine to go and get professional help. It doesn't mean anything or anything like that. Number 6, take baby steps. So spend time with the horse. If you're at a point, I don't know where you're at in your journey, so I know that sometimes when we've suffered an accident or a traumatic event or a break and we're a little bit nervous or we're a little bit worried, we may be not spending time with the horse or avoiding the horse. So maybe some of us are just chucking a bucket of feed in there. Maybe some of us are getting someone else to feed the horse. It's okay for you to just chip away and spend time with the horse. Just brushing him, grooming him, moving him into a different paddock and sitting in the paddock. Whatever it takes for you to start spending time with the horse, just in each other's company, that's the first step to rebuilding trust. Just being there with each other and being present. Whether that means that you're, maybe you're not confident to groom the horse, maybe he kicked out or something like that, I don't know. You have to tailor these ideas to your own circumstances, but take baby steps, and the first step is spending time with the horse, just being in each other's company, and then you can go from there. Start interacting with him, grooming him. Maybe it's time to start doing groundwork, whatever it is. Number 7 is get professional training help, but please choose the right trainer. Don't choose a trainer that's going to blame the horse and take the horse away and fix the problem. Okay, that's not necessarily the right course of action to do, because again, you're living in that blame circumstance and you're almost sending your horse away to school to be fixed because he was naughty, and when he comes back, he'll be fixed and we'll all be good. I am recommending that you get professional help, but seek a professional that is going to work with both of you and understand that this is a combined effort that's going to take place on both of your parts, and it's going to be combined schooling for both of you. So maybe some education for the horse, maybe some education for you, and we'll slowly start rebuilding and putting the bricks one on top of the other. Number 8 is do start on the ground. Everything that you can do under saddle can be done on the ground, and you should, after a traumatic event, spend time on the ground, because the horse may have associations with the saddle. He may have associations with being ridden, especially if the last thing that happened when he was ridden was a big accident or something like that. So you do have to take the time, slow it down, do some ground exercises. I personally have a system that I use to make sure that the horse is, it's my green light system. So I've got a series of like 10 ground exercises that I do, and I make sure that each of those ground exercises is being done at a particular level where I look at that horse and I think that's a green light, the horse is ready for me to move on. The horse's body language is going to give me cues. It's going to give me clues. It's going to, you know, if the horse is, obviously if the horse is bolting around on the lead, red light. Horse is wringing his tail and swishing his tail all the time, red light. Horse is snorting and prancing and carrying on, red light. There's all these sorts of things, and they're pretty obvious ones, but there's very subtle ones as well, that as we start to tune in and really pay attention to our horse on the ground, we can really start to identify green lights or red lights, and we can start to understand that we need to stay somewhere and fix that issue on the ground before I put my bum in the saddle. So then number 9, reintroduce the saddle and start doing all of the ground exercises again with the saddle on, okay? So get the horse re-familiar with the saddle, get the horse confident with the saddle, get the horse moving with the saddle, get the horse doing all sorts of stuff with the saddle on. Don't just chuck the saddle on and get straight on, okay? So do the stuff with the saddle on so the horse removes any negative association that he has built in regards to the saddle because you've had, if you've had a riding accident. Number 10 is investing time in exposure training. That's what I call it, or trust building exercises. So I think maybe on my YouTube channel there may be a couple of videos about building confidence or building confidence around scary objects, and if there's not, there's more training videos being uploaded all the time, so they won't be far away. But invest time in doing those things with your horse on the ground, so you're starting to show the horse that you can be trusted around when he's in a bit of an adrenal state, or he's in a state where he is a little bit worried, or he is being a little bit reactive, or so on and so forth. Exposure training can be something as simple as, a tarp or a ball. I'm sure we've all seen those kind of exercises before. But we've got a fairly elaborate system now here at home where I think we've got maybe 10 or 15 things that I can carry around to clinics and things like that with me that are scary objects. And we process or take the horse through all of those objects over maybe the course of a weekend, if I do an obstacle course or something like that, where I show everyone how to expose their horse to these scary things. And really, the way that I look at it, the horse that you've shown one scary thing to is going to be maybe at a reasonable or, a small level of trust. A horse that's been exposed to 10 scary things with you and has got through them all and has looked to you for help, then he's going to be even more trusting in you. A horse that's seen 50 things, he's going to be even more trusting in you, okay? So that's just experience over time, but if we're focused on building trust and building confidence in our horses, then we can do that week by week. So really, even if we exposed our horse to one scary thing every week, in 10 weeks we've done 10 scary things. So it's all about time and experiences together, and there's nothing that can beat experience and time together at all. Number 11 is take him on lead walks together. So when my horses weren't started under saddle, or in the past when I've been recuperating from something, I've got no problem with putting a halter and lead on my horse and taking him for a walk down the street. Let him be your partner, let him be with you, and take him on a trail walk, or take him down to a local showground and walk him around, and just spend time leading him, showing him new things, not necessarily obstacles training, which we were talking about in the last little while, but this is just going on walks together. It's just go to the beach, lead him along the beach. Go to a trail, lead him along the trail. Lead him around your paddock, check the fences. Whatever it is, just get him used to you being there and being present, and take him on walks. Number 12 is when you are finally ready to get back in the saddle, start slow, do it in the round pen, that's fine, and have someone there that you trust who's going to be encouraging, not someone that's going to be panicking and saying, I don't think you should do it, and not someone that's going to be saying, oh, hurry up and get your bum in the saddle, he'll be right, but just someone who's happy to just be there and be patient. And if all you do the first time is get on and sit in the saddle and count to 10 and get off again, that's fine, because tomorrow you'll count to 15, the next day you'll count to 20, and before you know it, you'll be back on track, out in the arena, riding around, out on the trails, whatever it is. Baby steps is what creates greatness. Trying to force yourself into something and just jump on and go, you're probably going to open yourself up to having another potential accident, because you're going to be nervous, the horse is potentially going to be nervous, but just build each other's confidence in the process. Number 13, get your sea legs back on a schoolmaster. So, go to a local riding school. Sometimes you can find really good ones. Sometimes they're like old trail horses, and it's kind of like, oh, why am I even bothering? But this is just about reprogramming your brain to go, you know what, I'm on a horse, I'm fine, there's nothing to be worried about. So you can take that energy and take it onto the back of a horse, okay? So if you think that doing all the stuff and you feel confident and you're right to get back on your own horse, then go for it, get back on your own horse. But if you're still feeling worried and you think that first time getting in the saddle you're going to be worried, go and get a few rides on a nice quiet horse. Maybe a friend's got a nice horse for you to ride on, but just go and get on something that is that can basically get your sea legs back and get that little bit of nervousness out of you, so you're not putting that into the horse that's potentially going to be worried about this situation anyway. Number 14 is ask around. See, if, depending on the circumstances, I am not recommending that you use people as a crash test dummy. Don't call your local instructor and say, oh, I just want you to ride my horse for an hour without telling them what happened. That's really, that's not cool. We're not crash test dummies. That's not what we're here for. But if you think your horse is safe and it was just an incident, then get someone else to ride your horse a few times, so you are watching that and you're feeling confident, like, okay, well, I've ridden the schoolmaster and I've got my sea legs back. I'm watching someone else ride my horse. He looks pretty all right. Now that gives me a little bit more confidence to go ahead and get on my own horse and start the process again. So they are 14, I think we got to. 14 of the different things that I feel that we can do in regards to rebuilding the relationship. And I think probably one of the most important parts of this whole Wednesday Night Live is just taking baby steps and being okay with that. Trauma's trauma. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Everybody deals with trauma in a different way. It doesn't, you know, just forgive yourself, give yourself a break, give your horse a break, and just take it step by step by step. And if you are wanting more information, I do have other Monday Night Live replays and other videos on my YouTube channel that are covering, you know, the topic of confidence and the topic of anxiety in the horses and that kind of thing. So feel free to go to those. Feel free to go to those to my YouTube channel and look those up. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I've got a couple of announcements to make. The first one is that you can hopefully by next week, you can say goodbye to this office. This is where we've done the live shows every single week. I think we're up to like 42 shows or something already. It's been over a year, but we've had like a month off when I've been in the States and things like that, and we've been unable to do it. I can see all your thank yous rolling through. Thank you so much. I know I didn't say hi when a lot of the highs, like they were coming pretty quick and they kind of roll and they fall off the bottom of the page. Unfortunately, I don't get to see them for too long. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate you watching. So it looks like I'll be able to set up a little bit of a studio here at home. Fingers crossed. I've got a couple of things in the works, so you should be able to see a pretty nice studio, if not next week, the week after. And the other little announcements that I have is I've got 2 massive projects in the works at the moment, which should both be launched by July 2nd. They are all focused around getting more content to you guys, and they are focused around, you know, you getting more information from me, lessons and things like that. So I'm really excited about what I've got in the works. I've been working super, super hard. You can probably see the desk behind me is pretty full of stuff. And you should see the office. It's like a bomb has hit it, because I've just been in front of this computer for about 4 or 5 days, and just, you know, working really hard to get everything collated. And I'm really excited about these 2 special things that I've got coming up for you guys. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week with their ponies. I will read all the comments, so thank you for making them, and I will reply to them, and I will see you all next week for Wednesday Night Live. If there's a particular topic that you want to see me cover, please send it to me on Messenger or via private message, because no topic goes unread. And if I can't think that I can do it as a Wednesday Night Live, I can always do it as an article, I can always do it as a training video, I can always do it as a thought from my walk. So please send your suggestions in. This show is for you guys. So have a great week, and I will see everyone on the Gold Coast who's coming to the Liberty Clinic. I'll see you all this weekend. I'm looking forward to it.